Let's jump straight in. In this explainer, we're going to break down a really specific, honestly fascinatingly brief set of instructions for an assignment. Sometimes it's those shortest rubrics that are the most intimidating, right? It's like a giant puzzle, because every single word carries immense weight. We've got a set of pasted instructions here, and our goal today is to deconstruct these highly specific parameters. We're going to visually unpack exactly what's required, what is unexpectedly permitted, and what the absolute deal breaker is. If you've ever had to tackle a project based on a super strict prompt, you know exactly how absolutely crucial this step is. So, what exactly does this dynamic actually require? Well, that's the million-dollar question we have to answer right now. You really need to look at this brief instructional text not just as some casual request, but as a strict puzzle. It's a formula, and it's got to be perfectly understood. Because, as anyone who's ever failed an assignment knows, missing a baseline requirement means you fail the whole shebang, no matter how beautiful your project actually turned out. We really need to dissect this prompt to ensure that whatever you build fits perfectly into the precise box the instructor has laid out for us. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the format and the creative loophole. The source text specifically labels the overarching task as a dynamic. It literally says, the dynamic, its duration is, and so on. Now that specific word choice, that's your first major clue. It sets the baseline format for absolutely everything that follows. Notice it isn't referred to as a static essay or, a standard written report. By calling it a dynamic and then later referring to it as a clip, the instructions are implying movement, presentation, and visual engagement. It completely frames the mindset you need to have before you even pick a topic. But get this, right after establishing that format, the instructions drop this incredible detail. Notice the exact phrasing here. It's fine even if by artificial intelligence. Wow. In an era where so many assignments strictly forbid AI, this rubric explicitly opens the door to it, for sure. This means that as a creator, you are granted immense creative flexibility. The burden actually shifts from manual, rote creation to clever execution and direction. You're totally permitted to leverage modern AI tools to generate your dynamic, which, honestly, entirely changes your workflow. It's a massive creative loophole, and you are actively encouraged to use it. Moving on, let's hit Section 2, the strict menu of options. And this brilliantly illustrates the boundaries of your assignment. The source text explicitly states that the project must talk about one of these topics, literally placing them strictly in parentheses: police, drones, and projectiles. Guys, this is a strict menu. You cannot just wander off into a topic of your own choosing. You absolutely must select from these 3 specific mechanical and physics-based subjects. Whether you choose the classical mechanics of pulleys, the modern aeronautics of drones, or the ballistic physics of projectiles, you gotta commit entirely to one of these leans. No outside subjects allowed, period. Which brings us to Section 3, the golden rule. Everything builds to one climax in these instructions. 5. That single digit is the absolute anchor of this assignment. The very first line of the text explicitly says the duration is 5 minutes minimum. So no, you can't do 3 minutes, you can't do 4.5 minutes. You have to gather enough material, AI generated or otherwise, on your chosen topic of pulleys, drones, or projectiles to sustain a dynamic presentation for at least 5 full minutes. It demands substantial content. And just in case anyone missed it the first time around, the instructions close with this exact phrase. And the most important point is the duration of the clip is 5 minutes. So the crucial point is that the instructor leaves zero ambiguity here. They literally label it the most important point. This time constraint is the ultimate pass or fail metric. You could have the most beautiful AI-assisted clip about drones ever created, but if it's only 3 minutes long, it fails the primary directive of the rubric. The repetition of this rule is a massive, flashing warning sign that you absolutely must heed. So we've unpacked the constraints. You need a 5-minute minimum clip, you can absolutely leverage AI to build it, but you are strictly locked into the realms of pulleys, drones, or projectiles. The boundaries are firmly set, but within them, the creative possibilities are huge. So, looking at these strict parameters, which of the 3 topics will you choose to conquer your 5 minutes? Think about it, strategize, and get out there and start building.